Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hope everybody's doing well out there in YouTube land. This is Ed and Chris, and we're here to do another virtual tasting with you right here at Old North State Winery. And I got my black shirt on, Chef.
Looking good. You're no longer a blue shirt.
This is a very formal event, so I thought I'd wear black. Yeah, so I think the guests really like our new color scheme for our uniforms.
Y'all look sharp.
Same staff, of course, just different shirts.
You look great.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much.
Great.
Well, it's not ideal if you're out in the sun, but since I'm indoors all day, it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, just don't go out in the sun.
Yeah, and the AC's pumping down there.
It feels great.
Thank you, Ben Webb. It's lovely in the dining room.
It is. It feels great. And it's just, you know, if you want to eat outside, I mean, that's just, it's on you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's just, that you're subject to the elements. I mean, we can't air condition the outside.
No, it'd be a little expensive. It's finally, we're right at, well, gosh, this will be the last one of May.
Yeah.
This is our last video for May.
By. May has been just a blur.
Yeah, it was rather temperate, cool, I would say, almost.
For the majority of it, until
this past week. It's really cranked up. And
that's not even, the temperatures have been mild. It's just so humid. It feels 10, 15 degrees muggier. Well, it's just muggy.
Gosh knows we're due for it,
right? In August, thank you. Not really in May, but it has been a phenomenal spring.
It's been lovely, yeah. And, you know, it rained for like a year and a half straight, it seemed like. And now we finally hit like a little dry patch. And now we're actually surprisingly in need of rain.
God, I mean, my grass just went from green to brown.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't take long at all.
But not the mow. That's a good thing.
Well, yesterday I had to, but I mean, it was like patches.
Yeah.
So I had to full on mow the back, and then I weed eated the front yard.
Yeah.
Because it was just dead and patchy, but you know, you still got to get those weeds down.
That's true.
Was it really the grass?
The onions, the
dandelions, and things like that. But, yeah, so be it.
Well, I guess we should probably talk about these delicious wines.
We're here to drink wine.
This actually really goes well with my shirt. This little.
It does. The motif is very similar.
This is a delicious white wine from the Lodi of California, which is Chris and I's one of our favorites for Zinfandels.
Great reason.
Periano Estates is the producer of this, called The Other. They make a red that we did a couple years back, and now we're exploring their white because the red was so popular. That is probably hands down the sexiest label in all the wine world.
Right? I mean, it's simple and elegant, but sexy. It's just great.
Yeah, absolutely. Artful, tasteful, and slightly erotic, I guess. So on the back it says this, that, and the other. And the this is what they would say is 65% Chardonnay. And the that is the 25% Sauvignon Blanc, and then the other is the Viognier. So this is a blend of French varietals, but it's done right here in California. I say here, I mean in our country, America, yeah. And this is a big, big wine. It's shockingly big for something under $15. I fell in love with it right away. I was excited about showcasing it as soon as possible. And I think this is going to be one of those wines that, well, it'll leave an impression.
It's surprisingly fruity for such a monster white. I mean, the balance of, I mean, the mouthfeel is huge. I mean, normally when you have this kind of fruit, it's kind of there and gone.
Yeah.
Boy, what a train this is.
Yeah, this will certainly get your attention. I love how, you know, it comes across as, you know, the weight, certainly the Chardonnay weight of it. A lot of people refer to Chardonnay as the red grape of whites because it is the biggest, boldest of all the white grapes. And red wine drinkers tend to also, if they're going to drink white, they're going to drink Chardonnay. So it's no surprise that the Chardonnay is giving so much body. But the surprise for me is how you can taste each grape. The Sauvignon Blanc is certainly is it peaks right through at the middle, really assertive, that grassy, citrusy note, and then finishing into those kind of. I always think of Viogniers having a little bit of that, little bit of waxy lanolin kind of thing at the end, and I think all three of these grapes are showcased perfectly in this blend.
Yeah, they're fantastic. They're fantastic.
Big chalky nose on it, floral.
Very floral.
It's really dense. Honeysuckle, melons, of course lemon.
Big honeysuckle, yeah.
Yeah, it's really my
Honeydew.
Yeah. My honeysuckle started blooming yesterday. It's really pretty. Hopefully we get some hummingbirds.
We went on that ride on Sunday. It was just walls and walls of honeysuckle in those forests and the trails. I mean, it was just. I mean, it was almost overwhelming. It was so fragrant because it was all in bloom, and just everywhere you went.
Yeah.
There were butterflies everywhere, and honeysuckle. It was just kind of like this one.
Yeah. A little bit of nature in the bottom.
No doubt.
Well, what do you plan on throwing at something that is this big and intense?
Well, you told me a little bit about the wine, so I had one thing in mind. Now that we've tasted it, I think I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I was going to do some oysters with this. I'll tell you what, I'm going to let you choose. We can either, because in my mind I wanted to do the, like a wilted kale and cheese topped oyster. But I think that might be lost on this. Or now I'm thinking to do some like that little blue catfish we have in that wild catfish. Flash fry that. Might be a little more sturdy.
Oh yeah, I would love that.
A little caper relish.
Yeah.
And some Mediterranean.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think that would be a lovely decision. Not that you could go wrong with either one, but boy, that wild caught stuff is
Let's
such
go with
a
that.
treat.
That's what we'll go with. It's beautiful.
Get it while we can.
Get it while we can.
Yeah. The majority of catfish is farm raised, if you don't know that, and so when chef has the opportunity to get some wild caught, that's always a thrill.
And it doesn't even look like catfish. It's so pretty. I mean, you can tell it is, but I mean, it's so vastly different. It's just beautiful.
Living off a natural diet. Yeah. Gosh, I just saw that. There's more controversy in the salmon world because of some farm raising techniques and things.
Nothing's going to go well.
And not only that, it's just when they're packaging the salmon, the chemicals that they're putting in it to preserve it. And so, people
can't end well.
Yeah. So that's what I love about you, chef, is that you're always sourcing from direct source and knowing that it's a quality product.
We have a real advantage that where we're allowed to do that, and that we're given the freedom to put quality first, so we can shop and source and really spend that extra time and that extra dollar to make sure we're doing something so not only sustainable but ethical, and those are both two big things to us.
Yeah, I was had a nice little conversation with the newly elected mayor, or appointed mayor rather. And he was talking about how he feels so good coming to eat here because he always knows quality ingredients, and that meant a lot, I think, to both of us.
It
to
does.
the people are noticing
People have that confidence.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of quality, man, Chris and I were gifted 2 beautiful bottles of Oban 18 Scotch, and let me tell you,
incredible.
it's another world. If you haven't had
It's
it,
another level.
Yeah.
If you can even find it.
if you can, Arnold Parton came through big time.
Well, I'm still a little speechless over that gift. I mean, that's staggering. Incredible.
All right, so now we're going to move on to Italy. Now, a lot of people don't realize that in the northern part of Italy, we do see actually quite a bit of Pinot Noir, or Pinot Nero, as they might call it there. And it's actually very lovely. It's just not as accessible as French or California. And well, heck, we've been doing some different Pinots from all over here lately. We had one from New Zealand. We had one from Patagonia. Yeah, we've been doing some different things with Pinot Noir. This time of year, we talk about having lighter reds, and Pinot Noir is a lighter red, but it's also one of the great noble grapes. It's not a grape to be thought of as a secondary grape, but I do like to remind people that as you drink seasonally, it's Pinot Noir time.
Amen.
And so those of you that aren't drinking it on a regular, it's time to circle back around and enjoy some.
And you can certainly buy up and drink Pinots in the winter because they're out there. Those big full mouth $80 Pinots are out there that are great in the winter. But I would say the vast majority of them kind of live to be enjoyed this time of year.
Absolutely, Chef. And this is I just want to go right back before, because I did not mention. We're talking about how big this wine is. This is a white wine that's 14.2% alcohol. You don't see that a lot. And I just because it was just kind of jumping at me, I was going to mention this is only 12.5% alcohol, which in wine terms is rather moderate. And so again, that kind of reinforces your when you're thinking about warmer weather drinking. Sometimes the amount of alcohol is part of the choice that you make. I know a lot of guys that drink craft beers in the winter, and then they'll switch back to kind of those domestics during the summer because they want more fluids. And it's a part of the decision making, I think, in the summer is the weight of the wine and the alcohol content. Now, of course, Pinot Noir. This is just lovely. I don't know if you've gotten into it yet, Chef.
I've already had a sip, and to your point too, and like it could be easy to get away from a hot day, especially as we're spending more time outside. We have to be careful you're dehydrating because you're sweating a lot more. Your body temperature's elevated. And if you're doing any kind of physical activity or even just being out on the deck or whatever, I mean, drinking wine like we've been used to drinking wine all winter, if you keep up that same pace in this hot weather with a more active lifestyle, the 14 to 15% it'll get you.
It could club you. Yes, that's right.
So
knock you right down.
A lower alcohol or supplementing. A few lower alcohol beers is.
Yeah, a little session.
I'm just guessing. This has never happened to me.
Right, yeah.
This has never happened to me.
Mm-mm. As a matter of fact, when we hooked up on Sunday, and I think those beers were like 7.5%.
Oh, yeah. Oh, easy.
Yeah. I was feeling them.
Me too.
And it was hot.
It was very hot. And it was, it was all those things.
Well, let's not get away from the real point here that we're talking about, that, being conscious of what you put in your body is always important, right? And so, this is one of those wines that I feel like, it's delicious. I mean, the fruit here is phenomenal. There's a beautiful toast on it. There's some florality on the nose as well. Great mouthfeel here. Great medium weight, which for terms of Pinot is actually pretty full. And in addition to that, you have certainly some oak influence here that will give you almost approaching New World style. It has a pretty prevalent vanilla and fresh fruit flavor it might make you think a little bit of New World Pinots. But then the finish has this really, it's a very soft, dry finish, but with nice minerals at the end. And I think it really does speak of the winemaking practices of Northern Italy, of how they can have nuance, they can have some potency to it, and there's hints of both masculinity and femininity in it. It's just right there in the middle, not too far in any one direction.
Well, you're right, of course. But I gotta say, I don't like to say this very often. This tastes Italian.
You sure? Yeah.
Because we're not used to seeing a wide variety, because you're always bringing us new things and always exploring, and always putting new things in front of our palate. But you can pretty much nail a Pinot if you're drinking the French, or you're drinking the Oregon, you're drinking the New Zealand. But this is such an Italian wine, and you don't normally, I don't normally go, oh, it's Italian,
right,
I mean, but this has that flair. I don't know, maybe it's the color, the dryness at the end. I mean,
it is interesting that you mentioned the color, Chef, because it seems like all Italian wines, their reds just have like this little hint of orange or rust in it.
A little rust.
And this is not old. This is an 18, and it is showing certainly discoloration at the edges. That rusty color out to the edge that you'd expect from a more aged Burgundy, but not from something this young. And so that might be a clue as to where it's from. If we're looking at blind tastings and things like that, that might be a clue, Chef. And I'm glad you pointed that out because I was eyeballing it. I just didn't.
Yeah,
mention it.
It looks very, very Italian.
I think about all those Italian wines that you look at the glass, you're like, this is not going to be good.
This is not going to be good. This is
they lose their color.
Lose their color, and then you taste them, and you like grab the bottle and run.
And
like,
run.
I'm not going to share.
Well, I think that you'll find that this wine is just great, just sitting here sipping on. But there is just tiny, a little bit of underripe fruit right at the end, which it doesn't get bitter. It's like it approaches bitter. To me, it begs for food. Mm-hmm. And I think this wine would be a great food wine, like most Italian wines are. And what do you think you're going to throw at this?
Well, keeping with this, the warm weather, I mean, when we talk about this at the chef table a lot, but we love red wine with fish. And, it is not the enemy of fish. When you talk, some are, you don't want to use it like a blind throw. But, I mean, red wines and fish can, are especially Pinot. The Pinot is the red wine fish, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But especially if you pair it right with a fatty fish, like we're going to do with salmon.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
We're going to do a really fatty salmon, and we're going to do just a little bit of pasta with chorizo from our friends at Darcy Farms. And this is just like cookout stuff, a little piece of grilled salmon, a little sausage pasta. I mean, this is the kind of thing that Chef Ed and I would do after work, sitting on the porch. But we would probably have some red wine. And a Pinot loves the fat. A Pinot loves the sausage and bacon. Pinot loves the fatty fish. Little noodles to bring it all together. I think it's going to be a great summertime dish with this Pinot.
I think you're going to make some very happy people out there.
Well, hopefully the scrappers will make you happy.
That's right. Yeah, I'm always circling while Chef's prepping stuff, looking for those scraps.
We love the scrappers.
Well, it's been a very busy week for you, Chef, and got another one coming as far as the chef table goes. The chef of it, every day I'm answering 2 or 3 calls a week, or 2 or 3 calls for a week coming up, and it's
we're booked out.
It's crazy.
I mean, they're really stacking up all summer long. It's just really humbling.
Oh yeah.
To see the attention of what you and I are doing here. We've been at it a long time. 3 years now.
Oh, at least.
Maybe longer.
Yeah.
But all those nights of 2 people and moving tables around, and now we're starting to see some real momentum. And I know there's some COVID involved in that for sure.
Oh yeah.
But however, you still got to feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're
That wine writer who tagged you and all that stuff this weekend.
Oh yeah, we've had some little bit of press going on too. And people like Parton and Arnold that were some of our original chef table.
They were there before the table.
Before we had a table, when we just slid over high tops and winged it under the. We had a wine trellis over the top of you, and some of our original chef table guests are, talking about coming back soon too. So we're starting to see everybody kind of folding back into the mix at their own rate. We had some guests that just they weren't quite ready to come to the restaurant, so they ate out the deck.
Yeah.
And that worked out great too.
It's fantastic. We have a lot of options here at the winery.
That's right. Yeah. If the weather cooperates, that's the one thing. You gotta be careful
Tough
about
this
that.
time of year.
Yeah.
But
And Chef, we got some beautiful flowers potted around the deck.
it's so pretty out there. One of the first things I do every morning when I pull up is water the flowers and kind of get ready for the day. And
This is dangerous.
We're gonna start that garden here any minute now. I need to weed eat it again, but Kate's been really busy, who's helping me with that, the design and the layout. But she's starting to settle down now. We're really going to tackle that in earnest. So really more of a foundation for next year. But I think a lot of progress will be made on it. But
Oh yeah, it takes a couple of years for a real garden.
for a real one, yeah. And anyway, good stuff. I mean, the flowers around the deck are looking great. The pots are looking great. I need to do some more weed eating, and that's always and forever.
Oh, Lisa spent probably 3 hours weed eating our front walkway. It just never stops.
It never stops.
It's funny, you get into this kind of drought type period, your grass dies and the weeds just
The
keep
weeds
trucking.
flourish.
Yeah,
They love it.
they're loving life.
Well, there's no competition.
Yeah,
They're getting all the, because they thrive in any environment. I mean, they grow in concrete and rocks. I mean, they love it. It's funny. I was taking the trash down before we did the video, and pulled up at the it's just a sea of concrete down there.
yeah.
And looked over, something caught my eye. It was bizarre, and I walked over. There's a huge snapdragon growing.
You're kidding me.
And I mean, that's something a bird dropped down there.
It would have to be.
I mean,
That's 100 yards, 200 yards.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
And crossed 3 different terrains.
Oh yeah.
And it's like in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's not like nudged up against soil. I mean, it's just growing in the concrete from a crack. But it's this
Snapdragons
tall.
are great little
And
flowers.
it's blooming like crazy. I'm just like, that's just a bird picking up one of the seeds and dropping and this and that. But I mean, it's just so beautiful in that sea of concrete and dormancy and death.
Yeah.
To see this beautiful thing, I'll grow, I'll bloom.
Yeah, and that's on the spot that was where we had the building burned down. It was, it'll be 3 years in July, won't it? 3 years.
3 years.
And that was going to be our fish hippie headquarters there, and it was a true disaster. Luckily, nobody was hurt, but it was that was like a 4-alarm fire.
It was.
There was
It was
fire trucks.
11 departments.
Yeah, it was
11 trucks from.
unbelievable.
No, it's 11 trucks from 8 departments.
Yeah.
Responded.
Well,
I was standing.
There's a lot
in
of
the
heat.
Elk River. My dad and I just stepped foot in the Elk River in Banner Elk, like 6:30, 6:45 in the morning. Not great cell service up there, as you just realized.
Yeah, I'm surprised we even got the call.
Well, it was closer than where we went, but rope factories on fire, rope factories on fire, rope factories on fire, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
What do I do?
I had someone banging on my door at 5:30 in the morning. You got to get down there, Ed. I'm like, okay. Like I was half asleep. I
You
didn't
had
know
that
what was
first video. I remember that video you took pulling up. There was no one downtown.
There was nobody. Yeah.
And like that was when you had your Porsche and you were pulling up with that, and you were filming while you were driving up. And I mean, it was just like Syria.
Oh yeah.
It was.
You
just,
could see it for miles around.
And downtown was deserted.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, it looked like it had been bombed.
Yeah, it
It
really
looked
did.
like Syria.
Yeah.
Like you just pulled up at, or Gaza or whatever. I
Sure.
mean, it was just bizarre.
And now we have a beautiful snapdragon.
Yeah.
See,
And
everything
soon
works
to
out.
have more gardens down there.
Yeah, we're gonna have a beautiful garden there. If you don't know, that's in the works.
Long-term project.
One day we're gonna have a garden down there, and we are going to possibly have a dinner down there.
We'll do a wine dinner. We'll hang some lights. But that's long-term.
Long term. It's good to have long term. In the short term, we're going to drink the rest of this wine.
Yes, yes, indeed.
That is a given.
That is a given. You can rest assured.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I want to thank everybody again. I've been under the weather the last couple of weeks, and I've been struggling a little bit, but I want to thank everybody for having patience with me. I know it's been hard for me to communicate with our guests, and I appreciate their patience out there because it's not easy when Ed can't speak. So
Hey, if any of you out there have any Mucinex, he's been cut off at the grocery store, so we're looking for people to supplement his supply because he's kind of gotten used to it. If you know,
kind of like it, what I'm
yeah,
saying?
you know what I mean.
Yeah, wow. That's
But that's some miracle stuff. I mean, like
it worked,
you wouldn't be able to work without it.
It worked. It got me through work many a days. I might have been a little giddy, but I made it through.
You were kind of cute.
Yeah. We had 30 plus people on Thursday night tasting, and I looked over at Becca right when we were about to start. I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Because I was like, that Mucinex was in my head.
That was all in your head. And I was like, kept checking with Becca. I was like, how's our boy up there? Like, checking with this. It was
once I started talking about wine, it was all good.
You're a pro. It was not an issue. But you were
a little silly.
A little silliness. Which is a good thing. We need more silliness in our life.
Well, this weekend is Mom's birthday. And Mom is going to be heading down.
Hooray! So wonderful.
We get to spend some time with Mom. And
we got to make up for all that Mother's Day lapse.
Yeah, and so we'll have a good time doing that. Hey, I hope you can join us again next time. We'll taste 2 more delicious wines. They might not be as inexpensive as these 2. I mean, $15, you can't beat it.
My goodness.
And these are the kind of wines you buy by the case, and you don't worry about it.
Don't worry
you just have them around.
Don't think about it. Close your eyes and buy it.
You have a quick grab of a bottle. You don't have to stop and think, well, is that blowing the budget?
Nope.
I have plenty of those, and I love those wines. But it's also nice to have something that you don't have to like, oh gosh, what have I done? When you wake up in the morning and there's 2 of them empty, which we've done many times, regularly. Oh yeah, regular. Well, on his birthday, I got him some really nice wines, and I was thinking, well, he'll just put these away for another time.
I don't like doing that.
Started cracking them and drinking them.
I'm not like that. I mean, I don't believe in that. Yeah. I mean, they make more wine every day. Yeah. And they'll age it every day. But and one thing I don't like, to be perfectly honest, is when someone who loves wine gives another person who loves wine, I want to drink that wine with that person.
I get that.
I don't want to go like squirrel off somewhere
and hide
and like end up like somebody came over someday or say we open it or some random occasion that we deemed important. Yeah, there's something to that. I get it. I get that, but I'm not like that. And once you give me a gift, I can do what I want with it.
That's true.
And I want to share it with the giver. I just enjoy that. I always want, and I know I'll forget if I'll circle around and we'll drink this one night. No, I won't. I'll forget. So no better time than the present, and especially that Frank, which is
that Frank family.
You can lay it down if you want, and it'll lay down great. But she's drinking like a Ferrari right now. Why not drink it?
And that beautiful Brunello. Boy, we drank
that Brunello.
Mm-hmm.
We threw down.
Yeah, it was not amateur hour. We had a Gigal. We had Trefethen. We had Gigal. Duckhorn. We basically.
We had about 7 different kinds of craft beers.
We just went down the list of big names of wines and drank them.
Now I did.
And caught fish.
I did know better than to not open that 2001 Greek wine.
Oh, the Lebanese one.
The Lebanese one.
Yeah.
Now I do want to be totally straight.
That needs to be like some.
I want it to be the first thing of the day to drink, and I want to be totally coherent and like I don't want to have even a beer in my system.
Yeah.
When you and I drink that, I want that to be just.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Immersed in that.
Well, we got time. Those can age up to 50 years.
I don't have that kind of
You already got 20 years under your belt.
Well, I don't have that kind of time.
That's true now that you're 50.
Other people who are 50 have that kind of time.
Yeah.
I am not one of them.
Well, we're going to be back here next week, God willing. And we appreciate all your support and listen to us ramble about God knows what when we're supposed to be talking about wine.
We did both.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And it's always a pleasure to see y'all in person, but we also look forward to seeing you right here, too. To all my friends out there, have a happy one, and we will see you soon.
Take care.